Can I just say that the temps have been on the coolish side the past 2 days with a nice breeze. It feels like fall, well, not fall, early spring temps. And today, the moment I sit down to record, the humidity sets in and I feel like a running waterfall. So let's see how this goes. Hi everyone, my name is Deborah and this is my channel Stitch the Stash. Today is Sunday, June 13th, 2021, and this is floss tube number 34. Hello everyone, how are you? I would first like to say, if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. I'm so happy you've come back for more. If this is your first time checking out my channel is all about cross stitch. Occasionally I will show knitting, but there will not be any today. And I hope you find something here that you like and you'll consider subscribing and coming back for more. So with that, I am finally back with my next floss tube update. And it's been a couple of weeks, and I just want to say, first of all, thank you to every single person that welcomed me back, left me a comment, and a few of you private messaged me and shared some of yourself with me, and that meant the world to me. So thank you so much. Honestly, I did not know what to expect coming back after 4 months. And y'all just opened up your arms to me, and I'm just going to ignore the people that gave me thumbs downs and unsubscribed to me within the first week of that video. It's okay. It is what it is, and I'm just happy to be here and sharing what I love with all of you. That's what's important. And so let's talk about the elephant in the room. And yes, I got my haircut yesterday. The last time I had a haircut was November 2019, so it was way overdue. And I feel like I have chopped off 2020. My hair was halfway down my back, and while it's very lightweight, it was weighing me down emotionally. And I feel like with the first cut the stylist gave me yesterday, it just was very freeing and I felt good. I felt happier, and we're off to a fresh start, and I absolutely love this. I went very short. It's very cropped in the back. I love it. It's a very hot, steamy day today, so it feels good to not have anything on my neck right now. So yeah, so that's the big thing. I had the big emotional lift of getting rid of 2020 that was in my hair. And it's really, when you think about how much something as simple as getting rid of your hair, how it weighed you down so emotionally. And last year was emotional for all of us with everything that was happening. And I'm just looking at this as it's time for me to move on and take care of myself. And I started with my hair. So yeah, that was the big thing. It was my first time being in a salon, and actually my first time doing anything real re-entry type, because I still haven't gotten on the subway. It's been over a year. Last time I was on the subway was March 12th, 2020. So this was a big step for me, and it was just me, the stylist, and one other person in there, and it was wonderful, and it was so good just to be able to do something normal. So yeah, so there's one last little admin-y thing that I want to mention. On my community tab of my YouTube page, I put up a poll the other day asking if anyone was interested in seeing a kitted parade. I had some comments made to me that there was an interest in that, so I just put a poll out there. You could either say heck yes or no, that's okay. And let me say right now that the heck yes is winning, so I will be planning on recording a kitted parade. It will be a floss tube extra, so for the individuals that voted no, that they were okay, you don't need to watch it. You can just skip it. That way, if you're here just for the regular updates, there you go. You don't have to watch it. So I will be preparing that and recording that at some time this month or early July and get that up on my channel. And I love seeing whip parades, kitted parades, stash parades. I love seeing it all, so I'm happy to do this and get it up for you if that's what you want, and it seems like the majority of people want that. All right, so what do I have for you today? Well, I am back to show you all of my works in progress, or WIPs, that I have worked on since February. Now, the only thing that I have broken out is my May plans, everything that I did in May. There are some projects in this current update today that I did work on in May because maybe they had a birthday in May, or they fit into a prompt that I was stitching for in May, but are not necessarily part of what I plan to do for May. So I've broken that out, and if I have enough time, I will add it into this video. If not, it will be a separate update. But I'd like to get that done because I was pretty excited for everything that I started in May. I'm not putting it in this video. Well, again, if it's not too long and I have time to put it in this video, I will, but I have quite the list of projects to show you today. And I do have two finishes that that happened since my last update video. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's first talk about my two finishes that I've had since we've last chatted. And the first finish I managed to squeeze in on May 31st. It was a surprise finish. I didn't think I was going to have any in May, and lo and behold, it happened. And that WIP is my Alice by Brooks Books Publishing. I stitched this on 28 count Jobelan in the color denim, and this is all in the called for DMC threads. If it called for a acrylic, I did switch it to a silk lame braid. Super excited to finally have this piece done because she was my oldest WIP. I started her on March 2nd, 2018, and on May 31st, 2021, she is finally done. She is absolutely beautiful. My original plan was to stitch the whole entire series, which is 12 individual patterns on one piece of fabric. But I had an epiphany when I was stitching on her, and I currently have enough room to do 4 patterns across. I've already started the Mad Hatter and the White Rabbit, and I have room for 1 more, which will most likely be the Cheshire Cat. And then I am calling this good. I will cut my fabric, I will frame it, and be done. I will have the rest of the fabric and the rest of the patterns. If down the road I decide I want to stitch more of them, I will, but I'm ready to move on. When I started this series in 2018, I only had 2 other WIPs, and this just does not get the focus anymore because there are other things that I'm more interested in stitching. I love it, love it, love it, but I'm ready to move on. So that is Alice by Brooks Books Publishing, and she is done. All right, finish number 2 is Beach Dance by Lindy Stitches. Oh my goodness, isn't this adorable? I stitched this on 32 count linen by Bestitch Me in the color Mummy. I used all the called for floss, which was a mixture of DMC and overdyed threads. I had originally purchased the bag kit from Lindy Stitches when they were on sale. Many months ago. You got the bag, you got the pattern, you got floss, you got some finishing pieces for it, and a few little extras. But I started this on January 15th, 2021, and finished it on June 8th, 2021. And I did do a couple of thread changes. I know I said I did call for, but now I'm realizing I made a couple of changes. On the feet, I changed that to a color and cotton thread in the color Snow Cone because the original DMC that I called for was not as vibrant as what I saw on the pattern and what I saw in pictures online of these blue-footed boobies. So I changed that. And then an unintentional change is on these flowers down here. It calls for DMC 3811. And I was using that color in another project, so I pulled it out and I had some loose threads, which I thought belonged to a 3811. But actually, after I had stitched 2 of the flowers and ran out of extra thread, I realized that it was actually DMC 964. I left it, but and I love it because there's green in the border, so I think it goes well. But other than that, everything else is the called for. I did start this for Nick from Stitches with Sphinx's birthday. It was her birthday weekend. She wanted to do, she wished she was able to celebrate her birthday in Hawaii this year, but that didn't happen, so we started these pieces together, and I am so happy to have it done. I don't know how I'm going to fully finish it at the moment, but it's done, so maybe it will be turned into a flat fold, maybe it will be turned into some sort of oversized needle thread book. I'm not sure yet, but I love it that it's done. Oh my goodness. The heat wave that's come through with the humidity is real. My hair is deflating. I feel like a wet mess. Works in progress, and I tried to group them together in categories so it would be easier to go through. So for instance, I have a group that is for what I use for my zombie run challenge, which is a yearly or annual challenge in the Cross Stitchers Journal and Daily 30 group, which unfortunately is a private group. I was lucky enough to be invited into it in February, and yeah, maybe they'd like to keep the group small, so maybe in the future, maybe end of the year or early next year, they'll be able to add in new members, but right now, that's not possible. But there is a challenge called Zombie. The zombie run, and I am representing the zombie half instead of the human half, and basically you choose 4 projects to be your zombie run pieces, and you have to stitch on all 4 every month for a certain amount of stitches or hours to reach a total set of monthly miles. And a set of stitches or hours equals 1 mile or 2 miles. You can change out the projects if you've earned an amulet or an antidote, and I have 5 to show you right now because last month I switched out one of my projects. So let me go ahead and show you my zombie run pieces. The first one is Newcastle Bouquet by Teresa Kogut. This was a release last year for Nashville, and I absolutely fell in love with it. It's a huge piece, as you can see. It's 353 by 217 stitches, and I'm stitching it on, this is on 40 count, and I'm stitching mine on 36. This is where it was at the last time you saw it. And this is where it's at now. I am stitching this on 36 count linen by R&R Reproductions in the color Cafe Kona in all the called for threads, which is a mixture of overdyes and DMC. And as you can see, I have completed quite a bit since you've last seen this. I have been working on this a great deal since February. I have actually reached the top border, have come over and started doing fill-in on these the top and the bottom page, and I absolutely love how this is turning out. Again, it's quite the big project, so I don't know when it will be done, but eventually sometime next year would be my goal, and it's just, I absolutely love this pattern. My second zombie piece is Halloween Quaker by Leela's Studio. Another favorite of mine, it's another large project, so that's why I chose it to be one of my zombie pieces, so it would get a lot of love and get hopefully finished sooner rather than later. This is where it was at the last time you saw it. And here's where it is now. And again, you can see that I have gotten a lot of work done on this. I am stitching this on a 36 count linen by Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers in the color Jack-O-Lantern, and it is turning out better than I ever imagined it would on this fabric. I absolutely love it. I chose something very different than what it originally called for, which is Picture This Plus Murky, and I love it. I am hoping to get this piece done before it turns 1 year old on September 19th, I think. No, September 29th. But as you can see, when the last time you saw it, I had this done and I had part of this done, but I have worked all the way across. And this is the last edge piece. This is bottom of page, I guess, 2, and this is bottom of page 6. I have, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have all of page 2 done. I think with maybe the exception of a little bit of the spider web here, but absolutely love this. I am stitching this with all the called for threads, and I have been stitching on this during the Halloween Quaker Zoom sale that Michelle Bendy hosts once to twice a month. I haven't been able to attend during the past month or so, but she has since finished hers, but she has now opened it up to being a Quaker Zoom sale. So as long as you're stitching on a Quaker, you can still participate, and it's been a lot of fun just to sit there and stitch with a bunch of other stitchers that were working on the same project as you. Very motivating. Next zombie piece is QS Lavender Roses. QS stands for Quick Stitch. It is by Heaven and Earth Designs, and the artwork is by Carrie Hawks. It is this beautiful white green-eyed kitty with these beautiful lavender roses. This is where it was at the last time you saw it. And this is where it's at now. I am stitching this on 25 count Lugana 1/1. This is the easy grid fabric that washes out once you are done, and it's all called for DMC. I love this piece. I'm super excited that it got a lot of attention during February, March, and April. As you can see, I have worked up to the top with the rose here. There's about right here is actually the top of the pattern. And then I've worked across, I have filled in all of this rose, and I've started putting in the color of the kitty cat. Now on the picture, the kitty cat looks more white with a little beige in it. This is a lot of beige. And so I'm super excited to see how the kitty stitches up with the DMC. And I'm close to right around in here to hitting the black of its eye. And the pattern I think comes over to maybe over here. So as you can see, I have a huge piece of fabric that obviously I didn't know how to measure properly because this piece is not that big. So when I realized that when last time I stitched on this, it made me super excited to get more work on it. And seeing those roses come through and seeing the actual pattern starting to appear is just amazing. However, I did switch this piece out in May for another piece, so this one is going on the back burner for a little bit. I was finding in April that I was putting off stitching on this to the very end of the month, and I have to put at least 200 stitches in it for it to count on my zombie. So I just decided let's change things up a little bit and give this one a break, and then I'll come back to it and I'll have renewed love for it and excitement for it. My next zombie whip is Stitchrovia's Butterflies. This has been in my WIP pile for a very long time. I started this May 1st, 2018. So I added it into my zombie run rotation in hopes of getting it done this year. That would be fantastic. I love it. I love the colors, but for some reason I just don't reach for it. This is where it was at the last time you saw it. And this is where it is now. I am stitching this on 32 count Jobelan in the color Bittersweet Light. And as you can see, I have quite a few more butterflies on this piece since the last time you saw it. I believe the last time you saw it, I had this butterfly almost done. It was just missing a couple stitches. I had this one done, and I think I was just starting this one. So again, having this as a zombie piece has gotten a lot more work put into it, but I still have a long ways to go. There are quite a few more butterflies to stitch. But all of these ones that you see here are complete. That one isn't, that one isn't, and that's that one. And then I have a little teeny tiny one down here. So yeah, I'm trying to stitch on this for at least 2 to 4 hours a month. And if I stitch on it for 4 hours, I can get one of the bigger butterflies done. So I'll continue to work on it this year and see how far I get, and maybe this will be another finish for this year. That would be exciting because then I get another old WIP out of the pile. My final zombie WIP, which I put in place of QS Lavender Roses last month, is Autumn Dream by the Cottage Garden Samplings. It is part of the Songbird Garden series, and I just love everything about this piece. I love the colors. It's fall. It's a pumpkin for Halloween. Just everything about this was, all of the patterns in this series, this was the one I said, yes, I must have this and stitch this right away. This is where it was at the last time you saw it. And this is where it's at now. As you can see, I got quite a bit of progress done on this, and this was all in the last month. I have put so much work into this piece. I love it. I think last month I put 6 or 8 hours into it. So far this month I have put 2 hours into it, and I love it, love it, love it. I am stitching this on a 36 count linen by Dames of the Needle in the color North Beach Brown. Yeah, the colors just look really great on that. I don't own, I think this is the only piece of Dames of the Needle I have, and it's not one of my favorites, so I probably will not purchase any more of it, but for this piece it was perfect. But yeah, I am looking forward to maybe getting this one done this year. As you know, I've said this before, my challenge is to finish 50 works in progress this year because I'm turning 50 in August, and I thought what a great way to celebrate instead of starting 50 things is finishing 50 things this year. And I honestly think this is possible because it's just, when I sit down to work on it, it stitches up so quickly. I mean, we're just talking lines of color with fill-in, and I mean, what takes a little bit of time are the flowers, and there's a little bit of doing the leaves take a little bit of time, but you know, really this is a pretty simple pattern, and I'm excited to get this done and then start another one. Okay, so now it's time for what I've put in the WIP Go category that you haven't already seen. And these are 3 WIPs that have already been called, and I've already completed the goals. The first one is Spring by the Cricut Collection. This has been in my WIP pile since, only for just over a year. But I started it and I put it to the side, and I put it on my WIP Go board this year to get me to pick it back up, and I only had it for a 3-day stitching goal, which I achieved, and if I can manage to get it finished this year, we shall see. This is where it was at the last time you saw it. And this is where it's at now. I am stitching this on a 32 count Joblin by Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers in the color Dusty Rose. And on Joblin, this is a beautiful mottled purple. And on linen, it is a pink. So I do have a project on the linen. You won't be seeing that today though. But as you can see, I got quite a bit done in the 3 days of stitching. I believe I already had the P completely stitched. Not 100% sure on that, but I put in the vine and then I moved over to the letter R and started putting in the umbrella. When I'm doing the stitching for days, I try to do block stitching because I feel like I can get a lot more progress on it instead of doing all the little fiddly stitching of like a couple colors here, a couple colors there. The confetti slows me down. So I'm happy that I have, you know, one complete letter except for those surrounding little doodads that go around it. I'll get there. If I can get this finished this year, that would be fantastic. Because I do want to stitch the whole series, and this is the first one in the seasons that I have started. And I apologize for the outside noise. Apparently there are motorcycles going over the bridge and it's super loud and it's too hot to have the windows closed. My next piece that was called Whip Go was Toil and Trouble by the Plum Street Samplers. I started this, let's see, in October 2019, so it's definitely over a year old, and I just stitched on it for a little bit, put it to the side, and never got back to it until it was called for this, it was called for my March WIPCO, and I had it down for 3 days of stitching, and I ended up putting a few more days in because I was just having a lot of fun stitching on it. So this is where it was at the last time you saw it. And this is where it is now. I am stitching this on a 32 count Joblin by Color and Cotton in the color Spellbook. It's just this pretty mottled grayish beige fabric that I thought was perfect for this Halloween piece. And as you can see, I have gotten quite a bit of progress done on it. I mean, the last time you saw it, I barely had this stuff going on over here. And now I have almost I think all but maybe 1 or 2 of the trees outlined, and I started filling them in, and I alternate between the fill-in and working on the mansion just to break it up a little bit. But I was super excited to pull this out, and it really helps when you have friends that are stitching this piece too and they finished their project. We started it together and she's finished it recently, so now I am motivated to finish this too. My next WIPCO piece was the Cricut Collection, and I'm doing the monthly series, and this one is October. I started this one on May 31st of last year. And yeah, you'll see from my starting point that I didn't put much into it. So this is where it was the last time you saw it. And this is where it is now. I am stitching this on 32 count linen by XJude Design in the color Hungarian Pointer. It is this gorgeous brownie orange, which I thought was perfect for this month. And as you can see, I have completed the O. Absolutely love how much work I got done on this. It was an April WIPCO call, and it required 3 days of stitching, and this is what I managed to accomplish. And I am using all of the called for threads except for the letters. I switched the called for Silken Color out for a Dinky Dyes in the color, I believe, Iron Bark. And boy, does this make me blue. And you can see there's subtle variegation in that letter O. And I'm actually enjoying... I enjoyed stitching on this once I got this fill-in done on this O. I really hate fill-in when it's just 1 or 2 stitches here, but I've adjusted how I complete my X's so it's a little easier for me to go back and do that fill-in. So, and that's all about cross stitches. Like you learn little tricks of how your style of stitching and how to change it up to make things easier for you. That technique may waste a little more thread, but I am willing to do that for the ease of doing fill-in and getting that fill-in to look decent. I don't know when this will be pulled out again to play because I've completed my whip go goal on it. Would it be great to have it finished this year? Yes, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. It most likely will come back out again this fall and see how many fall pieces I can work on. But we'll see. So that is all of my whips that I've lumped into my whip go section. So now let's move on to monthly projects. So what projects am I putting in as monthly projects? They're projects that I started on a certain day of the month, and I work on them every month on that day. I think I have like 5 or 6 projects that I put into this category, but I'm only showing you 3 because I've only worked on 3 of them, some more than others, since February. And I'm hoping that maybe August or September, I'll get back to the other ones that I would normally stitch on the month just to give them some attention for an hour or a half hour on those days. So I'm only showing you 3 today. And the first one is, it is Anne Morrison 1830. It is by Hands Across the Sea. This was an exclusive to Traditional Stitches in Canada to celebrate their 20th anniversary of being open. You can no longer purchase this. I purchased this last fall. I purchased the Belle Soie 103 silks. I'm sure they're Belle Soies. 103s, and I purchased linen, but I ended up swapping it out for my own because I got the 46 count and that's just too small for me. So this is where it was at the last time you saw it. And this is where it's at now. I am stitching this on 40 count linen by Picture This Plus in the color Fawn. I believe it was one of their new releases in 2019. And I absolutely love the modeling. Everything looks beautiful on this. And as you can see, I got quite a bit of stitching done since the last time you saw it. And starting in February, I was using, not only stitching in this on the 25th of every month, but I was using this as my daily 30 piece, which means I stitch on it for 30 minutes, 5 days a week. And I was super happy because this SAL started in December of last year, and they broke up each section of the chart to be like a monthly finish, so everyone would finish in December of this year. And in February, I got caught up with all of December, all of January, all of February just by stitching on it for 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week for 4 weeks in February. I was shocked when I was able to do that. I have not, I then took it out of that rotation and changed to some other projects, just give myself a break on this. While I was enjoying stitching on it, I was quickly approaching the section that has Algerian eyelets, and I've never done them, especially on 40 count, so I put it to the side. And I did pull it out recently for a stitching challenge, and what I chose to do is just work on the border, and I put a dividing border right here, and then up here is just an alphabet with some back stitching around each letter, and then there's Algerian eyelets in here, and one of the I just skipped all that. I'm working my way down and just starting to fill in places that are just cross stitches, and then I'll go back and worry about the Algerian eyelets. Yeah, that's something I'm going to have to practice on a spare section of this linen too, because I want to make sure I get them right. And if I don't do the Algerian eyelets, I'll figure something out. But I'm also, some people have done changes on this pattern to where they put their own name and age here. They took out these initials and put initials of their own family members or people that are close to them. So I haven't decided what I'm gonna do yet. I might even just leave this section off and put my initials, my husband's initials. I could even put the initial of my cats in here, just to make this my own. I know that sampler stitcher purists would never do that. But I'm okay with that because I'm stitching this because I think it's beautiful. I love the colors, but I don't see anything wrong for me to make it mine. If you disagree with that, that is your choice and opinion. But for me, I don't mind changing things up just a little bit, and I know I'm not alone in that. So I will see. Yeah, all these are Algerian eyelets. That heart's Algerian eyelets. I'm not looking forward to that, so I'm going to do everything else until and leave that for last. Monthly project number 2 is Winter Rose Manor by With Thy Needle and Thread, Brenda Gervais. I started this on January 1st as my New Year start, and I was planning on working on this on the 1st of every month, and I did that for a little bit, so there's a little bit of progress. But again, I've put this to the side. I want to say maybe March. I think March or April, I put my monthly projects to the side for other stitchy challenges. This is where it was at the last time you saw it. And this is where it is now. I am stitching this on 36 count linen by Xjude Design in the color Marbled Bunny. And yeah, I just felt that this, when I pulled the called for threads, and the pattern ended up being more of a rosy gold color instead of the pinks and bright reds that I saw on the cover photography. I just went with it. I pulled some of my own threads that I thought went well with this, and just went with it. I would have loved to have had a pink house, but instead I have a rosy gold house. So as you can see, there's just a little bit more progress since the last time you saw it. I filled in all of the snow on this side and the tree, and I started working on the house. I believe this is the front door. And not a lot to show, but again, I have not been working on this every month. I originally thought I'd work on it every month and then focus on this in September and get this done by the end of the year. That might still happen. Last September, when I chose a project to be my focus, I finished it that month, so we will see what happens with this one. The house is huge, and I feel like once I get past the house, everything else will move much quicker. I'm just thankful the house is not bricks and mortar. My last monthly project to share with you today is Like a Cherry Blossom by Stitches Through the Years. You can see little snippets of what it's going to look like when it's complete. This is where it was at the last time you saw it. And this is where it's at now. I am stitching this on 36 count linen by Xjude Design in the color Ash Fuchsia. And when I first saw this fabric, I thought it was perfect for this pattern. So what I have done is I have completed the flowers in the vine halfway up the side and then all the way across the bottom of the pattern. So that is the width of the pattern. And as you can see, I've started building the main big house. I'm almost done with it. I just gotta finish off the windows and the building, the door and the roof, and then it'll be done, right? That's what we always say. It'll be nothing to finish it. But I was stitching on this on the 13th of every month because I started this for Climbing Stitcher's birthday last year. We both started this project together, and I wanted to try to make some progress on it every month. And I pulled it out for a few months, and it's gone to the back burner. But I'm hoping maybe in July I'll start picking this back out because I love it, and I'd like to get it finished. It won't be this year. I'm not that unrealistic, but definitely sometime next year. This next group of projects is everything else that was already a WIP that I just felt like working on for whatever reason since February. And the first project is my Geranium by Nora Corbett. I say this every time. My pattern showed up without the original photograph, so I just printed this off of the website, and it's missing some of the color on the pattern. No big deal. But yep, this is where it was at the last time you saw it. And this is where she's at now. I am stitching this on 28 cashel linen, noise outside, dyed by Silk Weaver in the color Cinnamon Roll. And I got on a roll with her the past few months. I am almost complete. Almost completed, English language please, almost completed her dress. There is just some fill-in over here and then her dress will be finished. All these empty spaces that you see are beads. I have also finished her wings with the exception of the beads. I did all of the Kreinik, which this light color here is all Kreinik. I stitched all that. I love how her wings look. I love the purple in her wings and then the pinks and reds of her dress. Just beautiful. So what I have left is her face and her wreath on her head, her bouquet, and her legs, and then beading. And she is definitely on the docket for a finish this year. Don't know when, but she's gonna happen. I love her. I want her done because I want to start another one. And I will not allow myself to do that until she is done. Next up is The Mad Hatter by Brooks Books Publishing. This is the second in the series that I'm stitching on the same piece with Alice in Wonderland. This is where it was at the last time you saw it. And this is where it's at now. As you can see, I got quite a bit of progress on this. I put a lot of work into his suit and I finished his bow tie and I started putting in the tray that has the tea and little cakes on it. I think what I'm going to do is when I finished Alice on this piece, that completed my WIPGO goal for the year, which was to finish one in this series. It hasn't been called yet on my WIPGO, and so I haven't crossed it off. Normally I would, but since I have a few of these in the series to finish, once it's called in WIPGO, I will finish The Mad Hatter. So I will get 2 done in the series this year. And like I said before, I am only going to stitch 4 of the characters, chop the fabric off, and call it a day. But I love the colors in this. I love the purples and the pinks and the little red oranges with it. I absolutely love it. Then we have Mrs. Claus by Autumn Lane Stitchery. I started this in December of last year. As soon as I saw it released, I had to have it and I had to start it. This is where it was at the last time you saw it. And this is where we're at now. I'm stitching this on 32 count linen by Barbarol Creations in the color Raspberry Sorbet. Sorry, had to sneeze. Yes, it's all the colors Raspberry Sorbet, and I have finished her hat and the little holly leaves and berries that go in it. It just needs back stitching. I thought I would have had this done by now, but every time I pick it up, I find I have a mistake in this little white section. And so I need to pick it out for the 3rd time. Once I do that, I'll go back to this and get this one done because this would be a quick finish for my 50 finishes challenge for this year. The next one I worked on was Roses Embroidery by Gara. I stitched on this for #StitchAsia. Abby Bella Stitch came up with that hashtag. She created it to bring awareness, to celebrate and bring awareness to all the wonderful Asian designers that we have out there, all the Asian fabric dyers, floss dyers. So what you could work on is a pattern that was Asian themed or by an Asian fabric dyer or designer. And Gara is an Asian designer. So I pulled her back out. I started this when Michelle Bendy started hers and I fell in love with it. So I chose my fabric floss and immediately began it. This is where it was at the last time you saw it. And this is where it's at now. This is on a 32 count Picture This Plus Lugana in the color Discord. I had to think for a moment whether it was Lugana or Jobon. And as you can see, I got a bit more done. Not a whole heck of a lot. I've got her over her lower skirt done. Her legs are done. I started putting in her arm. I only worked on this for a few days simply because I struggle with the fabric. It is a Picture This Plus Lugana, and if any of you have stitched on it, you know that their fabric shrinks a great deal. So I struggle enjoying working on this. So I did put a little bit of work on it, but my goal had been to stitch on it for a whole entire month. That didn't happen, but you know, I did participate, and every time I work on this, I will hashtag it Stitch Asia because it's fantastic, and I support you know, stopping Asian hate and bringing light to all these wonderful creators out there of the Asian culture. So yep, I don't know when this will come back out again this year, but hopefully it will, just to get a few more stitches. I'm not putting it down for a finish this year. If that happens, we'll be pleasantly surprised together. Next one is an oldie but a goodie. Is my Jim Shore monogram. I am stitching the letter B for my last name. Originally this was going to be, I had set this up to be a wedding sampler for myself and my love. This is where it's at the last time you saw it. And this is where we're at now. Not a huge heck of progress. Border progress, but progress is progress, right? I had an epiphany on this one in May because it had its birthday in May, and I decided that it's no longer going to be a wedding sampler. It's going to just be a monogram, and so it means that I cut out a whole heck of a lot of stitching, and it gets this one done a lot faster. I'm stitching this on 18 count Aida by Picture This Plus in the color Earthen, and I know a lot of people who stitch on 18 count and use 2 threads. I'm using 2 threads and I absolutely do not like it. I fight with the fabric. It shreds my threads, it's tight, and this B is going to be full coverage, and I struggle to get my stitches to look nice. But I'm going to persevere because now that I finished Alice, which was my oldest WIP, this is now my oldest WIP, and I'm determined to get it done and cross it off the list. And for me to do that, I am shortening it to just the monogram, and we're going to get it done and get it into the finish pile. All right, my last general work in progress is the Sleeping Bee, or Sleeping Bee, by The Blue Flower. I started this, I think, in January of last year. It got a little love since then, and I've recently pulled it out to get another 300 stitches into it, and this is where it was at the last time you saw it. And this is where we're at now. I am stitching this on 36 count linen by Graham Cracker Fabrics in the color Graham Cracker. A bit more progress. I outlined the bees. I've started filling in the bee wing. I started putting in, I think this whole leg is complete, and I came over here and started putting in the other one. Yeah, not a whole heck of a lot of work, but it's progress. I did enjoy pulling this out the other week, and I look forward to working on it more this year. Because let's see, this says, yeah, the birthday's already passed, and it was a WIP call, and I already stitched on it for 3 days in this year, and it's been crossed off. But it will come back out. Has it been called? No, it hasn't been called. I've already put I put 3 days in, but when it gets called, I'm gonna put 3 more days in. That's the plan. So we'll get more progress on it. All right, friends, we're down to my last WIP category, and it is new starts, and I only have 3 projects to share with you. This does not include any of my May new starts. That will be in a separate video because I've already decided that this one is going to be too long to put it all together, and this one's already a hot mess. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, my first new start was the 2020 Pandemic Sampler by Sarcy Girl on Instagram. She designed this. She put it up for free. I believe she asked for a little donation for it to an animal shelter charity, and I do that every month ever since 2016 when we adopted Shanna. I have donated monthly to the shelter that we got her from, and I've been doing that for the past 5 years. And I chose to stitch this, and this is all in DMC. I chose to stitch this in the Mrs. Acedas silks. Mrs. Acedas Raquel did a conversion to silks for this pattern, and when she had listed them in her shop, at the time it was a portion of the proceeds went to a charity, a local charity to her because she is in Spain, for children, so no child goes hungry during the pandemic. And the colors are just absolutely stunning. I love stitching with her silks. They are amazing. And here's my start. I'm stitching this on a 36 count linen by Fox and Rabbit in the color Up in the Attic. And I started in the bottom right hand corner, and yeah, I recently pulled this, but I started this on March 13th actually, as on the anniversary of my first day from working from home. And then I never went back, and I still haven't gone back to the office, and I'm still working from home. So I recently pulled this out for a challenge and put quite a few stitches in it. Absolutely love this little colorful bird peacock and this little baby. The colors are beautiful. It's getting a little washed out here on my screen, but they are just stunning. And I know Deborah Carol Stitcher on Instagram is doing a sale with this right now, and what she did is she mocked up the pattern to be different sections, and the goal was to stitch one section a month, so you'd be done in 8 months. I am unofficially participating in that because I do not anticipate being able to get each section done a month, but I'm going to use her mock-up as a guideline. I believe with her style, it's if you hashtag it to the hashtag that she's provided, and you complete one of the sections each month, you get entered into some sort of prize pool, a little drawing, you win a little something. I'm not doing any of that. My Instagram is private, so not everyone can see my hashtags, and I don't think Deborah follows me, so she wouldn't see it anyway. But I'm just using it as a little bit of motivation for me to kind of keep me on track to get this done. I'd like to have this done by March 13th of next year. The next start is Lingyong Hummingbird or Cranberry Hummingbird by Alvig Stitch. I first saw this pattern on Anastasia Neko's floss tube and also on her Instagram account. She was stitching this. She has since finished this. I fell in love with it, and I wanted it myself. It is, I believe, by a Russian designer that Anastasia would link it to the Russian designer's website. I found this on a site on Etsy that has authorization to sell the patterns for her. So that's where I got it from. I think I got it from Nonstop Stitch. Not 100% sure. I'll put it on the screen so you know if I was telling you the truth or not. But she has exclusive rights to, I think exclusive, she has the rights to sell her patterns. And I was just super excited to be able to find it so I could stitch it. And this is where I'm at with it. I'm stitching this on a 32 count Joblin by Under the Sea Fabrics in Daphne. And this fabric, if you've been a long time viewer, is you will recognize it. I stitched Share Laughter by My Big Toe Design. I used this fabric, and now I'm using it for this, and you'll see in my next video that I've used the last little bit on a third project, so I'm super excited to practically have a fat quarter completely done with 3 projects on. But yeah, anyway, so this is where I'm at. What I love about this pattern is it's not huge. It stitches pretty fast. There's a lot of half stitches in the background and foreground. So I don't think that will take as long to get it done, but there are a lot of blends, and that's what Russian designers do. They use blended threads to get the amazing dimension and color that they do in their patterns. And I know it's not for everybody, and for me, I have to be in the right frame of mind to work on a blended thread project. But that's okay. I love this so much, and I'm really happy with the progress I have on it. I haven't picked it up since the first 2 weeks that I started this, but I will get back to it this year because it's too pretty, and I'm really into my bird stitching at the moment. Project, and it is Dreaming Frida by Barbara Anna Designs. And you know, I stitched Dreaming Girl during the SAL and immediately signed up for this one when it came out, but I did not start it when the SAL was happening. So this is the finished piece right here. And one of the wonderful things about starting it after the SAL is you can start wherever you want. And that's what I did because the SAL started in the bottom right, which is what I normally do, and I decided to start on the bottom left. And this is where I'm at with her. I just recently started her. I started her last week. She was my daily 30 stitching piece. Again, that is 30 minutes of stitching 5 days a week. And I'm thinking that she's going to be my daily 30 piece again this week because I just started putting her face in and got really excited about that, so I want to work on her more. I'm stitching this on a 36 count linen by Lapin Loops in the color Mossy Log. And it's just this gorgeous mottled brown purplish fabric, which I just fell in love with, and I thought it was perfect for this design. And I'm looking forward to getting more of the colors into it because when I did a floss toss on this fabric, it looked fantastic. So I think once I get more of the colors in, it's going to look even better because right now it looks a little washed out, but I don't think it's going to stay that way. But again, my Dreaming Girl, she blended in with the fabric a little bit, and I loved that about her, so I don't mind if it looks a little washed out. That's okay. And you know, I'm saying it looks a little washed out, and I think it's because of my lighting is washing it out, because the fabric is actually more vibrant in person. What am I talking about? You can tell I'm rusty, and this is going off the edge here. All right, so that is all of my works in progress. So that's it. That's all of my works in progress. That is everything that I have stitched on from February through part of June, and it includes everything but my May plans. And I think I'm definitely going to put that in a separate video because this one's going to be way too long. So yeah, that is it. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you stuck it out with me for this long one, but I just wanted to share everything with you. I'm listening to the noise outside. One moment. The noise is still happening, but it doesn't sound like it's right outside my window, so we will move on. So yes, that is everything. This is a little bit of a flash of how many things I need to show you in my next video, and my next video most likely will contain all of this and then whatever else I've been working on for June. I'm thinking my next video will be in a week to 2 weeks. I'm not 100% sure yet. If I can get it in, if I can record on Saturday, then this list will be, I'll just have only a couple additional projects to put on it because it will just be whatever I worked on this week only. So maybe that's what I'll try to do. I'll try to come back in 1 week. If I'm not back in 1 week, I will be back in 2 weeks. All right. I'm not disappearing. I am working on finding my joy and feeling good, and just interacting with you all on my last video, and again interacting with those who private messaged me and shared their thoughts and feelings with me helped uplift me, and chopping my hair off has helped uplift me even more. And I'm trying to find joy in joy in something every day or every week. And right now what's bringing me joy is my husband and I celebrated our 6-year wedding anniversary, which is also our 12-year dating anniversary on June 2nd. We were going to go out to eat to celebrate, but then we had a heat wave and we will only sit outside right now, and it was way too hot. Feel like it was 99 degrees, so we didn't do that. But it was nice. I mean, we've been together for 12 years, and 12 years, 2 cats, and a lot of stuff that happened in between. But it's great. So that's my joy there. I'm finding joy in all my cross-stitch projects. That is one thing that has stayed with me during these months. And I've only missed 3 days of stitching now because I didn't stitch yesterday. I spent my morning and early afternoon doing a color conversion for a project that I'm planning on starting hopefully soon. And then I went and got my hair cut, and then by that time it was after 6 o'clock and I was just too tired to stitch, and that's okay. So I've only missed 3 days of stitching this year. That brings me joy. And I'm just, one day at a time, and I'm feeling good right now. Again, especially after I chopped my hair off. So with that, my friends, I hope you're doing well. Tell me, what have you been working on? What is bringing you joy right now? I would love to hear. It could be anything. Oh, the birds outside my window is bringing me joy. We are feeding the birds, and there's another noisy motorcycle. Okay, it just sounds like 100 motorcycles went by, and I can still hear them in the distance, which means you probably can still hear them too. All right, so yeah, like I was saying, the simple thing is the birds and the squirrels outside are bringing me joy. What's not bringing me joy is that I planted flowers in my flower bed about 3-4 weeks ago. They were gorgeous, and the squirrels destroyed them. They dug them up. We have since come up with a solution, but we haven't replaced the flowers, so that does not bring me joy. My hydrangeas are blooming. That's bringing me joy. So yeah. All right, I'm going to end it here. I'm a little bit long-winded at the end. I'm sure quite a few of you have probably already said goodbye. But with that, I will see you in a week. I'm going to try. If not, 2 weeks. And with that, everybody, I hope you are well and stay healthy and happy, and I will see you next time. Happy stitching. Bye.